I thought it would be fun if I decided to make a countdown of every Sonic zone in the classic Sonic games. So that means 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles and CD. So yeah, this is going to be them from worst to best, and enjoy. My number 40 pick for the best, and by best I mean my number 1 pick for the worst, choice is Metropolis Zone. The reason why I think this is such a miserable level to play through is, 1, it's long. It has 3 acts instead of 2 like most Sonic 2 zones. But also, here's the thing, each of the enemies is placed in a place that makes it hard to avoid or react to them. Now, in Sonic Origins, if you're playing in the modern mode, it's not that much of an issue because not only do you have infinite lives, but you also have a larger screen. But I did not originally play the first 3 Sonic games on Sonic Origins, so I had to deal with the screen being a square, which means I didn't have time to react to any of these guys, and I just got hit unfairly every time. That is why I hate this level so much. And this isn't as important, but it's still really annoying. The boss, you pretty much have to wait an entire cycle if you want to be able to hit him without taking any risks of getting hit yourself. Now, of course, you can tank him, but it's still, if you're trying to be safe, you have to just wait a long, long time, and it's also very, very tedious. Wacky Workbench might have the most nightmarishly confusing design philosophy out of any of the Sonic zones. The floor will bounce you up if you touch it, so you have to stand on a bunch of floating platforms near the bottom. But if you get bounced up by the floor, that means you have to work your way back down to be able to get to the bottom, so that you can actually progress. It's weird, it's confusing, and like most Sonic CD stages, it just looks like a bunch of random junk thrown all over the place. But this is one of the least ugly Sonic CD stages because most of them are an eyesore with their color schemes. So I guess I'll give it that. That's really it. You know, I'm pretty sure Sky Chase Zone only exists to establish the fact that Sonic has a plane so that Tails can rescue him at the end of the game. I'm pretty sure that's it. But so as for the zone itself, it's just boring. I mean, you're on a plane, and the only really level design in it is there being badniks that you just can hit. I mean, I guess it establishes Winged Fortress Zone before you even go to there, but yeah, there's really nothing interesting about this. I like the music though, but then again, I like the music for almost every zone, so yeah, it's not that big of an advantage. So yeah, I guess that doesn't even matter. This level just flat out sucks. So basically, it is literally just the 2 final bosses of Sonic 2, and both of them are just horrid. So first you have to fight, I think it's called Silver Sonic. But you have to fight this robot version of Sonic, and like he if you don't know how he acts, because he acts the same way every time. But the first time you play against him, you are not beating him. But eventually you'll get it, because once again, he acts the same way every time. Then you get on to fighting Eggman's robot, and if you even take any risks during this fight, you will probably die, because he walks forward with these 2 spike arms, and if you touch either one, you die. There are no rings in this level, so there's no way you can take damage. Meaning that the best way to fight him is to tediously just wait for him to make himself completely vulnerable so that you have no risk of getting hit by him. And it sucks. Also, what's weird is that they compose an entire Death Egg theme for Sonic 2, and it only plays in the hallway before the Metal Sonic boss fight. I don't know why that's a thing, but it is. Okay? The final boss of the original Sonic game also has his own zone, and boy is he one of the most underwhelming bosses to be the last one in a video game ever. It's just, there are 4 pistons, Eggman is in one of the pistons for some reason. I don't know why he's in them. Couldn't he have just made this remote control? I don't know. But then he just shoots 4 balls at you and dodge them. And then you repeat this, hitting whichever piston he's in, if he's even close enough to you, whenever he uses the piston attack. It's stupid. I don't know why anybody thought this was a good idea. In Collision Chaos, you're basically just at the mercy of wherever the bouncy objects all over the stage want to take you. I don't like this level because it doesn't feel like you're in control of Sonic at all. It's just, you bounce around and hope that you finish it. And, I mean, it also doesn't help that there are a lot of flashing lights around it that are hard to look at. But then again, it's Sonic City, a lot of the things in this game are hard to look at. Whatever. This level's just really, really annoying to me. Oh, the infamous Labyrinth Zone. This level really is awful. It does deserve to be one of the most infamous levels in video game history. But so, yeah, I mean, the music is the only good thing about this. Once again, a lot of Sonic levels have good music, so it doesn't even matter. And this is the first water level in Sonic history, and probably the reason why water levels in Sonic have a bad reputation, despite the fact that there are actually a lot of good water levels in the other Sonic games. But, yeah, this is a very, very bad starting place as far as water levels are concerned. In fact, this entire zone is basically the exact opposite of what a Sonic level should be. It's slow. It is extremely slow. The water just slows you down, and you have to wait for air bubbles to show up so that you can breathe. I mean, in the boss is a chase sequence, but you're never told that it's a chase sequence, so you might actually end up just trying to hit Eggman every time, and you'll end up getting hit by other obstacles because of that. This didn't happen to me, but apparently it happened to a lot of other people. I realized it was a chase sequence immediately. Yeah, this zone's really slow, really boring, awfully designed, unfair, just awful. But hey, we can make an entire game out of this. I cannot believe that when making Sonic CD, they decided to do Labyrinth Zone again. I mean, it's basically just a copy of what Labyrinth Zone was trying to do. In fact, the boss even starts with a chase sequence. Like, what is going on? Why did they do this? This zone does absolutely nothing to stand out. I have pretty much nothing to say about it. And in fact, I have so little to do with it, I'm just not even going to bother going online to get the music. I'm just going to let it play from the gameplay. Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic 3 is a very short zone. Like, it only takes like a minute to do anyway. But basically, you have a very short and easy boss fight against Knuckles. But then afterward, Eggman steals the Master Emerald. And that's when Sonic and Knuckles, they start working together, even though Knuckles is too tired after the fight to do much. You know, it's cool. It's just cool for storytelling reasons, but, like, as far as actually being a good section by gameplay goes, it's fairly lacking, but it's not supposed to be a big gameplay segment. It's just a boss fight and then cutscenes. So, yeah. That's really all I have to say about it. So, Scrap Brain, I don't really know what to think about it. But so, like, the first 2 acts of Scrap Brain, they're fine. They're fairly basic platforming stages. You know, they're alright, and I like the theming. But then comes Act 3, and it's just Labyrinth Zone again, but this time it's purple! Like, why? Why did they do this? Why not just make a 3rd act of Scrap Brain? I don't get it. Also, I don't know why they didn't just make the boss that was in Final Zone the boss of Scrap Brain. I mean, it's basically the boss of Scrap Brain, but, like, technically not. I don't know why they didn't do that. Whatever. I like the fact that the background goes from being a city to inside the lab, though. I think that's pretty cool. That's about it. Yeah, I don't know why in a game advertised as gotta go fast, they decided to make the second level and then also the third and fourth and sixth out of 6 levels. I don't know why most of the levels in Sonic 1 aren't actually built around speed, but this is the first one that isn't built around speed. And I mean, the level itself isn't necessarily terrible, but it is slow and a bit dull. But here's the reason why it stands out as being not good, and the reason why a lot of people hate it is because it comes right after Green Hill Zone, which is a very fast-paced zone, going from Green Hill to Marble feels like riding a motorcycle into a brick wall because you get stopped in your tracks. It punishes you for going fast, actually. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. So, I think Winged Fortress is pretty cool. It's a 1X zone that starts with Tails getting shot down. But, yeah, basically, the level has you going around this giant airship in different ways to try to get to the end. And what I find cool about it is there are actually multiple ways that you can get to the end if you know how to damage boost through certain parts of the level. And I just think that's fun to do. But the level isn't that interesting otherwise. Also, the cutscene at the end is annoyingly long. Palm Tree Panic is a perfectly fine opening stage. I mean, I think it establishes what Sonic CD wants to do pretty well, but I mean, once again, like most of the Sonic CD stages, it's pretty bland, and I don't have much to say about it. I don't have much to say about Sonic CD, and you know, I'm not gonna have. There are some zones that I'm just not gonna have much to say about. You know, I can't be expected to come up with something to monologue about for all of them, especially the ones for Sonic CD, considered how uninteresting they are. You know, unlike most of Sonic CD, I actually kinda like Metallic Madness. Like, I think the colors and the music, I think they do it for me. The ambience-ness of all of it. But then also, you know, it's all metallic, you know, it's still a Sonic final zone. So it's not gonna be that great, but hey, you know what's cool? Sonic gets zapped by the Babynator! It's not what you think! And he becomes Baby Sonic. That doesn't affect gameplay at all, but I think it's kind of cool that it's a thing. So Doomsday Zone, or the Doomsday Zone, sorry, is actually a 2-part extra boss fight that you get if you get all the Chaos Emeralds in either part of Sonic 3. And I think it's a good way to end the game. I mean, it's different than anything else, although having the final zone of a Sonic game basically become Geometry Dash is a strange choice, especially considering that we've never done anything like that in a Sonic game before. But you know what? It's fun, and there are 2 phases. Both of them are pretty easy, but then once again, it's just fun to dodge the missiles and the asteroids and stuff as Super Sonic. I think it's good. I like it. Death Egg from Sonic 3 is in an interesting place because it has a lot of things that I do and a lot of things that I do not like. The reasoning for which is, well, 1, I like the theming. I like that you actually go in the Death Egg, and unlike Sonic 2, it's an actual level. 2, I like that there's anti-gravity, so it's cool. It doesn't affect the gameplay that much, but it's a cool visual, you know, Super Mario Galaxy sort of thing. What I don't like is this one particular room. I hate it. It gives me a headache. And I also don't like these things. It feels like an eternity waiting for these things to be over. given how dreadful some of the zones in Sonic 1 are, it is nice having this one around the middle of the game. But so, I mean, the visuals are a little dull. I'm not exactly sure what Spring Yard is supposed to be. My guess is a park, but, like, why would anybody ever want to go here? Like, why would you ever pay money to get cranial injuries? I don't know. But, so, yeah, this level's decently fun, although, I mean, it has the Sonic 1 thing of not being that fast, but it is fun to play around with the springs, so I can't really complain that much. Plus, the music in this one is particularly good. I like how it sounds. But one of the big complaints I do have about this level is these. Why are these here? They literally just slow you down. What is the purpose? This level is good, but not great. I mean, when you think about it, Sonic 3 needed to have 2 first levels, and this is the second first level of Sonic 2. I mean, 3. Sonic 3. That's what I meant to say. But, so, this one, I don't know. I like it, but it's good, but not great. The way it works is that most of the enemies and obstacles are there more to push you back and slow you down than to actually hurt you, which means that they put them all over the place. And yes, you do have time to react to most of them so that they can't push you back, but when they do push you back, it's really, really annoying. What I do find interesting about this zone is, right before the boss fight, you see this satellite, and then after you destroy the satellite, then all the mushrooms return to the normal color that they were in Act 1. So, I guess Eggman is malnourishing the mushrooms? Why? What purpose does this serve? I have absolutely no idea. Honestly, that's just a less effective version of what happens in Angel Island Zone to make you hate Eggman, though we'll be getting to Angel Island Zone later, so I won't spoil the surprise until then. When adding Sonic 2 in Sonic Origins, they actually decided to add in a zone that was scrapped from the original version of Sonic 2, and that zone is Hidden Palace. And I think Hidden Palace is, I think it's good. It's a decent zone, but like, I really like the visuals. I really shouldn't have drank soda when I was taking a break from making this video. But so also the boss is pretty cool actually. I like the design of the giant Eggman, the trombone thing. But also I like that it has water elements, and I like that there are jellyfish badniks. I like those. I like jellyfish. I don't know. I don't have that much to say. I'm sorry, but it is a good zone. The best zone in Sonic CD is Stardust Speedway. Now, the reason for this is, well, one, I like how fast the level is. I don't know why it looks like it's made out of trombones, but it is. And then, the other thing I really like about it is the boss fight. Instead of fighting Eggman, this time you're actually doing a race against Metal Sonic. That's such a cool idea! Why weren't other robot Sonic boss fights races? I don't know. I think that's so cool. They should do more stuff like that in some of the later stuff. Hilltop Zone is pretty good. It's a section of Sonic 2 that's filled with lava, and I like it. I mean, it's basically what Marble Zone would be if it followed the design philosophy that Green Hill and Starlight had. Because I feel like it would be like this. And I like that there are also the seesaws from Starlight where you bounce yourself. Those are fun. I like to see them come back. And yeah, I like the parts where there's rising lava and you have to go on the platforms quickly so that you can escape from it. I think that's fun as well. Overall, a good zone, a pretty good zone. So I didn't like Marble Garden at all when I played Sonic 3 for the first time, and going back at it to get footage for this video, I really don't know why I didn't like it the first time. This zone is actually a lot of fun. You can go through it, it's a blast basically to speed through. Really the only complaint I have about it, the only thing that makes it stand out from the other zones in a bad way, is these tops, which are really weird to control, and I don't like them. But the good thing is they're not in very much of the level anyway, so it's not that much of a problem. But I thought it was for the first time I played Sonic 3, and I really don't know why. I mean, you don't use them very often, and even when you do, you have the option to just jump off. There's only one part where you actually have to use it, and even then it's only for a few seconds. It's such a non-issue, I can't believe I was dramatic about it. Lava Reef is pretty cool. It starts off as a place filled with lava and a bunch of spiky balls going all over the place, and you have to dodge them. And then, after you beat Act 1, the lava cools down and it's a giant place filled with a bunch of gemstones. That's cool. So, the main reason why this zone is as high as it is because of the boss. The boss sequence starts with Knuckles throwing a giant gemstone at you, which somehow doesn't kill you, and then it becomes a chase sequence, and then it becomes simple platforming. But it's so cinematic and so epic, it brings the zone up a few places, you know? By complete coincidence, another cave filled with crystals comes in, and it's Mystic Cave Zone. This is the only Sonic zone I would say has a spooky theme. I guess the only other level, you could say, might be Sandopolis Act 2. But so, yeah, I think not only does this level look great, I think just the flow of it is really cool, because you can just keep going. Although, you do have to stop every once in a while to pull a switch, so I guess that does slow you down, but it's not really a big deal. I just think this level is a lot of fun. So Emerald Hill is the first level of Sonic 2, and I think it's a pretty good one to start off with. Now, here's the thing about this level. I think the design of it is quite interesting, because it's basically 2 layers, and if you fall off the top layer, which is easier, then you have to deal with the bottom layer, which is more difficult. I think that's a pretty cool way to do it, especially given that it's designed around the spin dash so that you get used to using it, which I think was the right idea. Another thing that's interesting about this level is, well, given that it's Sonic 2's equivalent of Green Hill Zone, they didn't use Green Hill Zone again, but they called it Emerald Hill Zone, which just means Green Hill Zone, because emeralds are green. You thought you could get it past me, Sega, but I see all. I see all. This zone is a lot of fun. There are a bunch of weird gimmicks and stuff that you can play off of, and all of them happen to be entertaining to do. But so, then, the weird thing about this level is, Act 2 in particular is just really, really long for some reason. In fact, this is where I found out, when I was playing this for the first time, this is where I found out that there is an actual time limit in the Sonic games. I died during the boss fight and got a game over because my time ran out. So what's also interesting about this is, well, 1, Knuckles tries to sabotage you by turning off the lights. I don't know why that does anything. I don't even think that does anything. But then, also, sorry. Also, what's interesting is there's a part where they lock you in a room with one of the barrels that are throughout the stage. Now, I didn't have an issue with this because I didn't realize you were supposed to jump on the barrels anyway when I played this for the first time. I actually just started pushing up and down on them when I saw them and thought that was how you were supposed to get them to move further than just jumping, because Tails kept messing up my momentum. But apparently, a lot of people had a problem with this one particular barrel, and they didn't get past it because of it, and it made them give up on Sonic 3 entirely. Because this specific barrel you cannot get past if you don't push up and down. So yeah, that's a problem. And then the other thing isn't even really this zone's fault. It's that they changed the music in Sonic Origins because Michael Jackson made the music for this and 2 other zones, which we'll be getting to later. And so they had to change the music due to legal reasons when re-releasing the games for Sonic Origins, and that ended up becoming a problem. Because the music they replaced it with, instead of making new music, they replaced it with the prototype music. And it is such a massive downgrade. It is so upsetting to listen to. For me, at least. I can imagine anybody who hasn't heard the original tracks or played the games in their original state, I can imagine those people being fine with it, though. But for veterans, no, absolutely not.
Oh, I don't like that.
Aquatic Ruin is similar to design to Emerald Hill Zone in the fact that it has 2 layers. However, this time, the punishment is even more severe than in Emerald Hill Zone because now you're underwater. That's pretty much it. Oil Ocean is a lot of fun. Basically, if you fall to the bottom, then there's a bunch of oil, but you can pretty easily get back up, so it's not that big of a deal. Plus, the oil doesn't kill you unless you sit in it too long without jumping. The enemies of the zone aren't that bad either, although a lot of people say they are. And generally, just the aesthetics and the design are fun. Look, once again, I don't have that much to say about all of these. There are a lot that I have to cover, okay? Sky Sanctuary only has 1 act, but 1 act is all it needs. Basically, you're climbing this crumbling tower. Knuckles helps you at the beginning, but it's how Sonic gets onto Death Egg in Sonic 3, and I think that this is a great way to do it, because once again, you're climbing a tower, and it's falling apart as you do it. Eggman sends some badniks to try to shoot you down, and, if you get knocked down onto a previous level, that kind of sucks, but it doesn't take that long to get back on, so it's not that big of a deal. What's also interesting about this stage is you fight a 3rd robot Sonic, this time called Mecha Sonic, and, well, he's not very creative. Everything he creates turns out lame. And he basically just uses 2 of Eggman's boss rockets, ships, things, from Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, and then you fight him, and even then he's still pretty easy when you fight him himself. But also, this ending cinematic just looks awesome. Now, Sandopolis is a zone that is very unpopular among people who play the Sonic games. But so, the reason I like it as much as I do is, I just think it's a blast when you're trying to run through everything and you try to skip all the things that slow you down. And that's about it. But I do think as well that the ghosts are a nice addition to Act 2. I mean, they don't change the gameplay that much because it's so easy to turn off the light switch, but if you play the game with them on, it's also a fun little challenge that you can do, you know? Hey, now we're at one of the 2 levels in the first Sonic game that actually is built around speed. Green Hill Zone is the one that had the most amount of production time put into it, and it really, really shows. Because there's definitely way more care put into this one than any of the other levels in the game. I do think this is a great starting point for the series. Not necessarily the first game, because it clickbaits you into thinking that the rest of the game is going to be like this. But hey, as far as being a basis for the other Sonic games, I think this is a great starting point. It's fast, it's quick, it's not that difficult, but it does take a while to master. And there are all sorts of hidden paths and secrets in this. You know, it's really good. Everybody likes it anyway. I don't know why I'm still talking about it. Launch Base is an absolutely bombastic ending to the Sonic 3 part of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And yeah, no, it rocks. It's just... It feels so much like you're just breaking into a giant space center, and I don't know how they managed to convey that, but they did. Also, it ends in a 3-stage boss fight that gets harder as it progresses, and the boss music for the final phase is really, really good. Also, I mean, the music in this level is also really good. That is, until they changed it, because Michael Jackson did the music for the level. And the replacement music sounds like the president is about to show up and give some sort of speech. Angel Island is much better than Mushroom Hill, especially at being a first level, but also at making you hate Eggman. So, well, first off, it's a nice tropical jungle. You know, very simple. Sets itself apart from Emerald and Green Hill, which is nice. But also, then, after a certain point, I would say about halfway through Act 1, one of Eggman's robots shows up, and for no reason, just torches the entire place! I don't know why, but that's what happens, and it shows that Eggman is a menace, and I really like that. Starlight is the only zone in Sonic 1 that's designed to be fast that isn't Green Hill, and I like it for that reason. I mean, it's a fun level, but also, once again, the fact that it's actually designed around the way that Sonic controls and moves makes it just feel so much better than most of the levels in the original Sonic game. So, really, it has it in Green Hill had a very unfair advantage over the rest of them, but also the rest of them should have just been designed to be around how Sonic moves in the first place, so I don't feel bad about putting them way, way lower than this. But the reason why I put this specifically over Green Hill is because of its placement in the game, where it's just such a relief to finally get a fast level after going through Labyrinth and Marble Zone. You know, it's a relief. Ice Cap Zone is an absolutely fantastic level. I mean, it starts with Sonic snowboarding. You're not really in control of it. I mean, you can jump, but you're not really controlling him at that point. But the rest of the level still is absolutely fantastic. You're running through a bunch of icy caves, and then in the second level, you actually start exploring the above ground, but you can still go in the icy caves. And I think that's really cool. That was not an intentional pun. But also, the music is really, really good. It was done by Michael Jackson. And guess what the replacement was?
We're gonna go quiet again now, because now it's time for Ice Cap Zone, and Ice Cap Zone is great. Love Ice Cap Zone's theme. So you better not screw this up. Don't do it. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, no. Kill it with fire, please. Burn the sheet music. Yeah, that's me. That's how I feel listening to this music. Oh my... Ugh.
Flying Battery is a better version of Wing Fortress. It's just some really, really good action. It's fast-paced. There's a lot of enemies and obstacles to go through, and you feel great doing it. And also, that music is absolutely kick-ass. It makes you feel like a spy breaking in and infiltrating Eggman's base. This level is really good. Well, congratulations! We've made it to the top 3! My number 3 pick is Chemical Plant, the second level from Sonic 2, and probably the fastest level in the entire series. This level is built completely around speed and ramps and letting you launch yourself and go fast. And it's just a blast to do so. I mean, yeah, that's it. It's as simple as that. That's why Chemical Plant is so popular. And it deserves to be. Casino Night is really fun, and funnily enough, it might be the easiest zone in any of these games, because there really isn't anything standing in your way. I mean, there are badniks, but it's only one kind, and the only thing he does is bounce you back instead of actually attacking. But yeah, this level is pretty much just there to be fun, and boy does it work, because unlike Collision Chaos, it does have a bunch of bouncy things, which is like Collision Chaos, but unlike Collision Chaos, you're actually in control. You are able to control where you go. It does not feel out of your control. And that allows you to launch yourself into a bunch of slot machines and stuff like that to be able to gamble for rings. And it's just so much fun to do so. How can anyone hate this level? I think the best Sonic zone is Hydrocity, or Hydro City. I really don't care how you pronounce it, but I'm just gonna call it Hydrocity because 1, that's easy for me to say, and 2, I like Megamind. So this level has it all. It's a water level that manages to be fast-paced. It has these water slides that help you gain momentum. It has a bunch of fans and hands that allow you to move faster and all over the place in a bunch of different ways. It gives you water shields so that you can avoid drowning. I mean, there's even this section where you're getting chased by spikes and you have to spin dash to get away from them. How cool is that? Like, was it even a competition? This zone does everything. It's the best zone, and my favorite. So yeah, that's what I think. That's my ranking of the Sonic zones. And good night.